We regret to inform you. Written by Waldo the Digital Hex. With custom artwork by Flutterlove. Chapter 1. The letter, sodden with tears, lay slightly crumpled on the desk. Nearby, a pink mare cried hard, her body convulsing in violent racks as she sobbed. There was no happiness today, no party that could make this better. Pinkie Pie hiccuped in the middle of her breakdown, tears still streaming down her face. She just couldn't believe it. It had only been 3 days since she waved goodbye to them, wishing them luck on their trip. She could still remember seeing them off at the train station. Their smiling faces refused to leave her mind. She started crying all over again as they winked at her, wishing her well and making sure she looked after the... Pinkie Pie jolted up. The twins! Somebody had to tell the twins. Oh, wait, Pinkie mumbled. That some pony would be me. They would like you to become the legal guardian of their foals. Fresh tears welled up in the mare's eyes, spilling over as she stared at the unfortunate letter, the devastating news. How would Sugar Cube Corner fare without the ponies who started it up, gave it enough love to grow from a shanty little treat shop to the town's premier sweet tooth? Who would teach the kids how to run the store? Pinkie Pie shook her head as she realized she was breathing heavily again. No, first things first is to tell the twins after all. She looked back at the letter nervously. I guess they're my foals now, right, Mrs. Cake? She shook her head. Her mane had deflated considerably, hanging limply from her scalp like dry locks of thick ropes and weeds. She glanced at herself in the reflection from the window. It was raining outside. I should probably go clean myself up a little first, though, she muttered. She could see in her reflection that her face was slick with drying tears, her eyes puffy and red. She got up to go to the washroom, only for 2 little ponies to come falling down the stairs, growling and grappling with each other. Get off me, cried the creamy orange unicorn, squealing as her tan brother tugged at the thick curls of blazing orange his jaw was clamped around. He responded by growling even louder. Ah! She screamed, trying to push her brother off. She quickly gave up, realizing it was no use. She saw her Aunt Pinkie out of the corner of her eye and immediately made a beeline towards her, dragging her brother along behind her. Auntie Pinkie Pie, she cried, jumping at the pink mare and clutching her leg tight. Auntie Pinkie, get him off! Pinkie Pie looked down at the innocent twins. Pumpkin continued squealing in irritation as Pound Cake nommed away at the thick pumpkin mane. They had no idea how much their life had just changed. She had to tell them. She had to. This was what the Cakes wanted. This is why they chose her on their will. Why they had a will, Pinkie hadn't the slightest idea, but... Pound, stop! Pinkie commanded the Pegasus with a stern voice, far more serious in tone than she'd ever used before in her life. Pound was obviously intimidated as he immediately spat out Pumpkin's hair, his ears flicking back as he looked at the floor in shame. Sorry, Auntie, he mumbled, his poor speech a bit thicker and deeper than other colts his age. Pinkie Pie felt a sharp pain in her heart as she looked down at the 2 foals. If she agreed, then her foals. More tears sprang up in the corners of her eyes, but she fought hard to keep the bulk of them at bay. She needed to be strong. For the foals, she needed to be strong. Pound, Pumpkin, I have some bad news for you two, she said. Pumpkin cocked her head. Many things were going through the little unicorn's head. Why wouldn't Pound just let go when she told him to? Why did he always have to be so annoying? What was that letter on the desk? Why did it have to be raining outside? Why wouldn't Auntie Pinkie Pie let her go play outside? But there was one thought that stood out amongst the others, a thought she shared with her curious brother. Why was Auntie Pinkie Pie crying? I know you both like having me as a foal sitter, and believe me, I love foal sitting you two so much as well, she said with a weak smile. But, it looks like I'll be watching over you guys for a little while longer than Mommy and Daddy told you. Pound giggled while Pumpkin smiled wide. Yay! They both sang in unison, eyes wide and gleaming. That is, until Pound Cake remembered that Auntie Pinkie Pie had been crying. Was it because she would be watching them? Why would she be crying if she got to spend more time with them? She was the best foal sitter in the world. Why would she be crying? Auntie, what's wrong? Pound asked as he reared up, putting a small hoof against Pinkie's thigh. She looked down at Pound's confused face. Pumpkin was still smiling happily, oblivious to what her aunt needed to say. The walls broke. Tears gushed down her face again. She picked up Pound and held him close, hugging him tightly. Pound hugged back. He was a snuggler for sure. Pumpkin, to her credit, finally read the atmosphere and stopped smiling. Pinkie Pie eventually put Pound down next to his sister, looking at them with a sad face. "There's a reason why I'm going to be watching you guys a bit longer," she explained. "It's because Mommy and Daddy..." Her throat closed up as she felt her head growing light. These were words no foal should ever hear, words Pinkie never wanted to tell any pony. There would be no parties tonight, none at all. "Mommy and Daddy, they..." Pound and Pumpkin looked at Pinkie expectantly. She took a ragged breath, wiping her face clean of tears before forcing herself to finish. "Mommy and Daddy aren't coming back, so I'm going to be your new mommy." The twins, bless their innocence, were oblivious to what Pinkie truly meant by that. The only part they caught was that Pinkie Pie, the funnest pony in all of Ponyville, was their new mommy. They whooped as they jumped up and down. No more bedtimes, no more baths. They smiled wide as they bumped hooves with each other. No more boring chores, no more story time. They suddenly cast each other surprised looks. No more catch with Daddy or cooking with Mommy. They felt small tears welling up in their eyes. No more cuddle time, no more funny stories. The two very confused foals looked up at Pinkie Pie. "What do you mean Mommy and Daddy aren't coming back?" Pumpkin asked, her voice shaky. Pinkie Pie needed to be strong for them, now more than ever. She wanted to be strong for them. She really wanted to. She wanted to. With a sharp gasp, she broke down, bawling her head off. Realizing that this wasn't the happy news they were expecting at all, the twins joined in with her. On the table, the letter lay dormant, uncaring for the harsh, blunt information it gave to the grieving family. "Dear Miss Pie, we in Baltimare regret to inform you that due to extreme weather conditions, your employers were unfortunately taken, and in conjunction with their will, they would like you to become the legal guardian of their foals." It was raining outside. It would be raining for a long time.